Okay, so today we're going to be doing some more sizzling starts in our writing. Now, I already made a video about sizzling starts for our informative writing, but I'm not necessarily sure if I did it justice in that video. And I think it's probably best if I go through and give some more actual concrete examples of how you can do it yourself. So, sizzling starts. It's pretty basic. We've gone through it all year. You're going to try to grab your audience's attention and give them an idea about what they're going to be learning about in your informative text. So, moving on. There's 5 different ways to start your sizzling starts. Okay, so 5 different styles. You could begin with action. We've talked about this. Beginning with something really, really fast paced and some action scene about whatever you're talking about is a really good way. And the good thing about beginning with action is it works with most informative texts. It's a very strong way and it's a very easy way to get their attention. And some of these you'll find don't work with every single time we're going to do writing, but action is one of those ones that's a really good one to go back to if you're having difficulty with it. Next one is dialogue. Now, thinking of a word or a sentence that will grab your audience's attention, but you've got to make sure that not only is it going to grab their attention, but that thing that you're actually grabbing their attention with is specific with what they're going to learn about. There's no use just grabbing a quote from someone just randomly unless that's going to be really important in what they're going to learn about. Because remember, you're supposed to be grabbing their attention but giving them an idea about what they're in for with this person. So just grabbing the craziest thing they ever said is probably not a good reflection of that person if that's what you're talking about. Okay? Third way, making the reader curious by writing something intriguing. I mean, you look at how social media works these days with things like clickbait and things like that, which is basically one short sentence, and all they want to do is make you click on it. Like you'll never guess who they've caught doing this, and suddenly, like, oh, now I need to know. So making the reader curious with your sizzling start is a really good way because the humans, by their nature, are very curious beings and really want to know if there's something they want to know, they just need to read it and find out. So it is a really good way to use it if there's a way you can do it. If you're explaining how a motor works, there might not necessarily always be that sort of making them curious way. But I'm sure if you knew enough about it, you could be really creative in that way. Humor is an excellent way to get people in and to kind of just liven them up and go, oh, so it's not going to be just like a normal, ordinary, boring, informative text. It's going to have a bit more to it. But however, you understand that not all texts can have humor as a sizzling start. If you're writing about the Holocaust during World War II, starting with anything humor is just, I guess, lessening the impact, and it's just really not showing the right respect to those people that you probably should be. So humor, it can be useful, but it's also not necessarily always going to be useful. Same as the moment of change. Okay, so getting that one moment where everything changed and sort of like this is that moment doesn't always apply. If you're writing an informative text on how to, I don't know, make pasta, I don't necessarily know if this is the best way to at the moment of change. However, you know what? Good luck finding a part if you're writing a problem text about how to make pasta with any of these 5. Although I'm sure we could do it. So they're the 5 different ways we're going to do today. Now, I'm going to say this: informative writing quite often in the way that I've taught it and the way I've been taught, so I'm just as guilty as everybody else. We go through the motions. We're doing informative text. Also, we're going to learn about different animals, and we're going to write information texts about where they live and what they eat and things like that. And it gets quite, I guess, repetitive in the way that it is. And sometimes I don't necessarily find that it is that you can really find the fun and creative parts of it. So we're going to try and do that over the next few weeks, not just necessarily always write like biographies and things like that. We're going to try and write just basic things and try to see if we can make it interesting and use some of these strategies that we've used in our narratives and bring them across to informative text. So what I'm going to get you to do today is I'm going to give you 5 different styles and 1 topic, and you've got 5 minutes to write a sizzling start for each of them. So you have to write a sizzling start using action, a sizzling start using dialogue, a sizzling start using moment of change, humor, and dialogue. I don't know. I forget which one I missed out on. Okay, I'm going to pick something that you don't need to know anything about. I mean, you do need to know something about it, but that doesn't really require you to have read anything about it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you to write an informative text about how to inform someone about how they were going to win a fight with a member of their family.
Now, and it's not a physical fight. Please don't write how you go a physical fight. Like, oh, you've got to go low and punch him really hard. I do not want that. But we're going to talk about, like, it's supposed to be funny, so we're not going to make it really serious. We're just going to make it like a light-hearted, little bit of a humorous how-to guide about how to win a verbal fight with someone in your family. I didn't put specifics about whether it's going to be a mum or dad or a brother, because you'll choose who the person that you are the best at doing this with. Okay, so if you would like to ensure that you were going to win a fight with your family, so this is not necessarily a boring way, but this is the way that you would usually see someone start an introduction for this. Ready? If you'd like to ensure that you win a fight with your family member, here are a few simple techniques you can use to make sure you always come out on top. Once again, you'll see that these introductions that I'm giving you are not bad at all. In fact, I would be thrilled if you guys gave me that as an introduction. But let's just see if we can, for instance, try to use each of these and see if I can change them around a bit using my different sizzling start styles. So, how am I going to do it if I had to? So you're supposed to only have 5 minutes to do it, although I don't have a time limit, and really I'd rather do it well, but I'm going to give myself less than 5 minutes to do it. All right, how would I do it if I was beginning with action? Okay, so it's a fight between, let's pick my siblings when I was growing up. Although my brother, I didn't really fight with that much, but let's just pick my brother and sister. Okay, so beginning with action. Okay, so what would be the real action scene if you're having a fight with them? So it's like, as the when you hear the bedroom door loudly, you can be sure of one thing. This fight is not over. This paper will go through the detailed steps of how you can defeat your sibling in a fight every single time. Okay, so just something with action, like when you hear the bedroom shut loudly, you can be sure of one thing: this fight is not over. Okay, you probably go slam shut, or like things like that. I don't know. Like I said, if you had more time, you could brainstorm each of these ones, but I don't want that today. I really just want you to think about it and then write it down. Okay, so I've got my action one. Let's go dialogue. Okay. How would I think about, okay. Yeah, well, Mum told me the other day that you were adopted. I yelled at my brother. Even though this wasn't a true statement, I knew it would be just the thing to send him over the edge and give me the victory. Sorry about my typing, guys, that I needed. Okay, so dialogue. You're going to talk about some part of the fight that you're having with them, but it's going to have to be somehow relevant to the rest of the story, rest of the informative text. And then you'd go on and say, although this, you'd explain what the story, what your informative text is going to do, like that. Pretty much, what I wrote in the first one, where I said, so if you want to hear a few simple tips, you can pretty much put this straight after your style, because that was a great one. You're just going to put it after it. Okay, let's try the next one. Style 3. Where are we up to? Making the reader curious. Okay, it's a bit of a trickier one. Let me think about how I'm going to do that. Making the reader curious. You're not going to tell them anything about the fact that there's a fight going on. Okay, you're just going to make them curious.
in the few hours after the big event, there is a strange sense of quiet that goes around the house. Try to ignore this as much as possible, as you are nearly at the end. Okay, so they have no idea what you're talking about. So you're kind of trying to say that when you're fighting with someone and it's like you want to see who's going to crack first and who's going to apologize or whatever. Like I said, it's funny. We're not really going into this, but let's say if it was going through. You don't want to give too much away in that part, but you're just trying to make them curious as you go. All right, let's move on to the next one. Humor. Okay. People say that the loudest sound in the world is a volcano erupting. Those people obviously haven't, spelling is atrocious, haven't been around when my brother and I were playing soccer in the backyard. Let's just say it can get a bit intense. Okay, so you're going to basically try to use a bit of fun, a bit of humor into it, because it doesn't always have to be so serious. Okay, the last one, moment of change. Okay, it's at that, so really like that moment where you think you're going to win that fight, and it's like that moment where it's just changing over. So we're going to try to give them a bit of, it's kind of like the intriguing, it's like curiosity as well. It's at that point when you see the tears start welling up in their eyes that you know that you have won. Don't let up. Let up now. You are so close to victory. Okay, once again, they're all kind of similar in those sort of ways, but you can see that with those 5 different styles, let's go back through them. Beginning with action, I did that one. Dialogue, making the reader curious, humor, and a moment of change. So I'm going to set you this exact task to do today, give you those things, give you the 5 different styles, and see if you can start to think about how you would sort of start your sizzling start about a how-to guide about how to win an argument with someone in your family. It could be your mum, it could be your sister, it could be the way you like bat your eyes at them and things like that. If you're like the way you play, like you're just like this, I don't know, poor little kid. I don't really care how you do it, but just pick the one that's going to be the easiest for you, okay? And I hope it's a bit of fun. Like I said, I don't want writing to always be this serious thing where you're like, oh, I hate writing. I want it to try to be engaging for you guys and to be interested in it. So don't take it too seriously. I don't really, if you see anything that's a bit too full on in the writing, I don't want it to be too serious, but I'm sure you guys will be able to enjoy this. And I hope that's been hopefully a more useful way of explaining how we can use sizzling starts in our informative text. All right, thanks for watching.